If you're doing any sort of live event style of marketing, whether that's dinner seminars, educational workshops, or anytime where you're speaking in front of a crowd, and you might be booking appointments, but maybe you might have those appointments not be as sticky as what they used to be, or maybe they're just not sticking well at all, meaning they're just not showing up to that first appointment or they're canceling, but the amount of people that you're booking just aren't showing up to that first appointment. Well, one of the reasons could be that you need to create more urgency in your presentation. In order to create more urgency, you have to, create urgency, right? It's pretty self-explanatory, but what you don't want to do is do fake urgency. It has to be authentic. Well, how do you make authentic urgency? Well, right now we are in a pretty different marketplace, a different economy, right? We got interest rates at all-time high. We have the market is doing well. We've been talking about recessions for the last few years, but we really haven't experienced one. So there's not a whole lot of pain. There's not a reason why people really need a financial advisor. If everything's going up, they can literally put money anywhere as long as it's not just in the bank. But even then, the CDs are not that bad right now. So why do they need a financial advisor? So if you're not creating that urgency, they leave your workshop. They might have said yes to coming in for an appointment, but they go back home and they might talk it over and things get in the way and they're like, my accounts really aren't that bad. I don't necessarily see why I need to go meet with this person. And then they cancel on, right? They postpone and they're being nice. So how do you create that urgency so that way they actually do show up to your appointment? Well, you could do like I just said, a fake urgency where you're like, hey, my appointment calendar is I blank it off for just this week, for just you all. And if after that point, we're not going to have any time on our calendars to meet with you. And that might be true. It's still not that much of an urgency on me it might create a little bit to make that, a little bit more of a, hey, I really want to get in on the calendar, but it's still not enough to make sure that they show up to your first appointment. What you need to do is you need to tell stories, and they need to be an authentic story. A great example would be somebody that you've met with in the past. Maybe they didn't become a client, right? Maybe it's a husband and wife couple, and you met with them 3 to 4 years ago. You laid out a plan, and they decided not to work with you for whatever reason. They just decided not to. And then, something happens, maybe one of the spouses passes away and the other spouse is left with not as much as what they thought they would had they've been working with you, had they been put together a plan, and they're not as in great of a shape. Now they're becoming a client, you've been able to help them out. But had they become a client, years ago, they would have been in a lot better shape. Right? That's a very quick story, but you probably have plenty of stories just like that where you could have helped somebody, right? And had you been able to, it would have been a much better situation. That's creating urgency. That's creating a feeling that they're like, oh, wow, there's this unknown that I don't want that to happen to me. So how do I make sure that that doesn't happen to me? So you're creating that sense of urgency, but they are finding themselves in the story that you give to them. So make sure you're creating that story, towards the tail end of your seminar when you are, closing, you're booking to those appointments. So that way it's the last thing that they're left with is that sense of like, I've checked the boxes. This person can definitely help me. And I should definitely meet with them over the next couple of weeks, right? You got to create that urgency, especially in an environment like today. Have a great week. Make sure you hit subscribe for more videos to come out by The Proven Way. I got plenty of more value that's coming your way. We're going to be posting videos every single week as much as we can on value out to you for marketing, business tips, leadership tips, sales tips on how you can be the best financial advisor you can be.